And here we have a nice tricky problem with a lot of good math in it. And so it asks us to find the area between two curves. So what does that even mean? So it asks us to find the area between x and 0.5x squared. So those curves will look something like this. And what it wants us to do is find the area that I'm shading in right now. You might think, whoa, that's not really a lot like what I've done before. And you'd be mostly right. It's not that similar. But we're going to have some steps to do it. All right, and so the first big step here actually isn't even calculus at all. The first big step here is just to find your endpoints. All right, and so what I mean by that is there's two areas where there's 2 points where this starts and begins. Right? We want to find the x values for those 2 points. So the way you do that is you set your curves equal to each other. We want to know when the output of x is the same thing as the output of 0.5 x squared. And so with this problem, we'll get x equals 0.5 x squared. And notice we have a quadratic here. Be very careful about dividing out x's. You don't really want to do that here. What is better to do is say 0 is equal to 0.5 x squared minus x, and from here you can factor it, right? So 0 is equal to x times 0.5 minus 0.5 x minus 1. So if this thing is 0, we either have x is equal to 0, or we have 0.5 x minus 1 is equal to 0. So if I finish solving this one out, I would get x is equal to 2, and so that gives me my 2 endpoints. This is my left, and this is my right. So it happens at 0 and 2, kind of like it did in the chart there. You are going to need to make sure to solve this out, and you will need to use factoring or your quadratic equations. Now, what do we do next? It might seem like we have a lot of work left, but we've actually done all the hard work. So the next thing that we're always going to do is after we found our endpoints, we just use this general form. So we take the integral from our left bound to our right bound, and then we have the top function minus the bottom function. So what does that look like in our problem? Well, so here we want the integral from 0 to 2, our left bound to our right bound. Our top function here is x, right? Which function is greater in between? Our bottom function is 0.5 x squared dx, right? And so we can simplify this out a little bit more if you wanted to. We'd have x minus 0.5 x squared, just basically end up removing the parentheses. And then from here, you would use one of the standard techniques that we've been using to do these. So it'll either tell you to approximate it using some certain rules, which you can go back and watch the videos we made just for those rules, or hopefully you'll just be able to type this into your calculator.